After transmigrating into the role of the weak and universally disliked female lead, I finally completed my mission. Before faking my death, the system gave me 1 day to bid farewell to the targets I was supposed to romance. Having endured for 3 years, I started to go crazy and insult them one by one. I've been fed up with you for a long time, you fake. After 3 years of tutoring, are you still as underdeveloped as a cerebellum? Are you an idiot? Who would want to be engaged to an old man like you? You're halfway into the grave. Just as she sent the message with satisfaction, the system emitted a deafening alarm. It's over, host. I misread the time. Actually, your fake death date is in 7 days. I was shocked. The next moment, the doorbell rang urgently. It's been 3 years since I transmigrated into the role of the universally disliked female lead. I finally completed the task. For the past 3 years, I have always played the role of a timid and submissive weak female protagonist. At school, I was practically invisible. At home, I was ordered around by my adoptive brother. I have no friends and am not liked by my family. Finally, my family arranged a marriage alliance and set up a fiancé for me. But on the day of the engagement, my true origins were exposed. It turned out I was a fake heiress who had been switched at birth. The true heiress of the Song family has been found. In an instant, all the storms in the world came crashing down on me once again. I became the target of public criticism once more. Perhaps the weight of the final straw was just too overwhelming. The system that had been gone for 3 years finally came online. Congratulations, host. The universally disliked mission has been completed. You are about to receive a huge reward. Tomorrow, you will return to the real world. I was stunned for a moment, then asked again, what about the me in this world? The system chuckled and comforted me. Don't worry about that. Just disappear when the time comes. Is it that simple? I double-checked. Is it really over? No more new missions, right? The system thumped its chest confidently. Yes, tomorrow you can collect your boxed meal and log off. Only then did I feel relieved. The system said I have 1 day to bid farewell to this world. But I thought about it. There's no place I need to say goodbye to. Perhaps even my death wouldn't move them in the slightest. I idly pulled out my phone, scrolling through the contacts. Just then, the phone vibrated. A person with the note name, Loading Guy, sent 2 messages. I'll have someone deliver the clothes for tomorrow's banquet to your home. Stop wearing those ugly dresses of yours. You're embarrassing me. My brother, Song Yu, now. He should be considered my foster brother. We used to be half-siblings. Ever since I came into this world, he never gave me a good look. This person has a gloomy temper and a sharp tongue. Every time he sees me, he always takes jabs and belittles me. Sometimes he complains about my poor taste. Other times he complains that my IQ can't compare to his. He never had a good word to say about me. Whenever I passed by him, I would receive a look of disdain. But he was the young master of the Song family. I am my father's only son. No one in the family dares to say a single word against him. Even my mother advises me to endure it silently. I have endured him for 3 years, bowing and scraping. Usually, he treats me like a nanny. Anyway, I'm leaving soon. I don't want to put up with it today. Me, do you think your clothes look good? Me, attached image. Me, is this shit? Me, not a typo. Me, think you're some kind of fashion genius. To be honest, even though you have a bad temper and average social skills, exactly 0 people actually care about you. After a long time, Song Yu sent a question mark. Probably hit him too hard. He didn't even react for a moment. In the dialogue box, the other person's status has been typing the whole time. After a long while, he finally asked, what happened to you? My fingers flew across the keyboard. Absolutely nothing. I've had enough of you for a long time. Load the goods. The phone fell silent again. Song Yu was probably furious. But how? I just put him on Do Not Disturb. There were 2 light knocks on the door, and the servant pushed it open. Miss Song, the car is waiting outside. I will take you back to school for the event this afternoon. Although I am already the fake daughter, but out of gratitude for their years of raising me, my parents still plan to let me finish high school. I got on the bus back to school. Along the way, perhaps sensing something was off about the atmosphere at home, even the driver remained silent, afraid of touching a nerve with us. But as soon as the car stopped, I had just opened the car door. An angry voice of questioning came through. Song Young, do you have any idea how long I've been waiting for you? I looked up. A boy stood before me, He was glaring at me angrily, his chest was heaving with rage. I looked him up and down. What are you waiting for me for? Gu Xian was shocked. He said incredulously, I only did it because I felt sorry for you. No one wanted to dance with you at the prom this afternoon. I reluctantly agreed to be your dance partner. And this is the attitude you give me. The Gu and Song families have been close for generations. Gu Xian could be considered my childhood friend. With a pair of weary yet bold eyes, Gu Xian was considered quite a prominent figure at school. Our parents had once even intended to arrange a childhood marriage between us, but Gu Xian publicly rejected it. I still remember how disgusted he looked, as if he had just swallowed a fly. Engaged to her? Are you insane? Are you deliberately trying to disgust me? At that time, Gu Xian's attitude completely disgraced me in the banquet hall. For a whole year, I was mocked by everyone in the circle, but fortunately, his reaction had already come with a price. I gained 100 experience points. 1/3 of the task has been completed. Thinking of this, I didn't really want to make things harder for him, but someone just had to stir the pot. 2 passers-by started chiming in. You really think you're important enough to make our young master Gu wait for you? Are you still playing hard to get? Upon hearing this, Gu Xian pressed his thin lips into a tight line. He spoke again, the 2 words seeming to squeeze out from between his teeth. Song Yao, I'm talking to you. I looked up suspiciously. What is it? You're blocking my way to the teaching building. Gu Xian laughed in extreme anger. I just said so much, and you didn't listen to any of it. Don't you even know how to apologize? I was baffled. Apologize? To whom? To you? Are you even worthy? Gu Xian froze instantly. I asked again in confusion. You want me to wait for you, but you won't tell me. Do you think I'm a mind reader? Besides, I never asked you to be my dance partner. Who are you trying to impress with your wishful thinking? Should I hand you some tissues? Maybe shedding a few crocodile tears would make your performance more convincing. The 2 bystanders on the side saw this. They immediately spoke up in defense of Gu Xian. Mister, Gu was only taking pity on you, and you don't even appreciate it. Why are you being so harsh? Are you doing it on purpose? I glanced at them both in confusion. Nonsense. Of course it was intentional. If it weren't unpleasant, why would I even mention it? Have you 2 finished your Pinduoduo group buying? Although my words may be harsh, none of you 3 deserve to hear anything pleasant either. Gu Xian was the first to react, wanting to step forward and grab me. Song Yang, the bodyguards behind him quickly stopped him. I glanced back at him indifferently. Since I'm in a good mood today, spit it out. However, the expression on Gu Xian's face wasn't the anger I had imagined. It was more of a daze. Song Yang, today are you sick? I waited for so long, thinking he was going to say something important. I was fully on guard, ready to face his outburst, and this is all he came up with. Is that all? What was around me before was like a large-scale rookie station, full of all kinds of large and small packages. I really overestimated them before. I didn't bother with Gu Xian anymore and went straight to the principal's office upstairs. There are still important matters to attend to today. Although there is a coming-of-age ceremony event organized by the school, it doesn't hold much appeal for me. It's nothing more than handsome guys and pretty girls dancing and taking photos together. I was once the unpopular, invisible one. Naturally, no one wanted to be my dance partner, so I didn't prepare for today's dance at all. I didn't even dress up, just wore a regular hoodie and pants. When I came out of the principal's office, the looks from everyone in the hallway had become somewhat strange. So she's not the Song family's heiress after all. No wonder. I always said she didn't have the Song family's aura at all. She and her brother are like 2 completely different worlds. It must be so hard for Song Yu to have such an adopted sister. The wind carrying the truth about my origins finally blew its way to the school. I looked at my phone and only then realized there were 20 missed calls. It was all Song Yu, a phone number that hadn't made a call or sent a text in 10 years. Suddenly, it was flooded with calls and messages all at once. I almost thought Song Yu had bought some spam package on Taobao. I'm too lazy to call him back. I opened the text message to take a look. There were too many. I couldn't possibly read them all. I could only see the latest one. Song Yu, I'll be back tomorrow. At this moment, he was still on a business trip abroad. Looking at this text message, I really didn't know how to respond. I pressed the lock button again. Whatever, after all. It's his home. It's up to him whether he comes back or not. I bumped into Gu Jian while rushing downstairs. He was wearing a suit, and the youthful contours I remembered had faded from his features. When he saw me again, Gu Jian's Adam's apple moved. Suppressing his anger, he whispered in a low voice, "Song Yang, why haven't you changed your clothes yet?" I frowned and asked, "But I'm not dancing." I don't know if Gu Jian has taken the wrong medicine or something, based on past experience. The one dancing with him today should be Su Yu, the prettiest girl in our grade. Gu Jian was about to speak. The bodyguard beside him politely stopped him. "Young Master Gu, our Miss Song is already engaged to Mr. Pei." Gu Jian's expression instantly turned cold. "I know, I don't need you to tell me." I dug my ear and nodded to the bodyguard behind me. "Let's go, we're heading back." Once in the car, I saw a few classmates gathering around Gu Jian. They were grinning cheekily and whispering to him. As he spoke, he even pointed at my family's car. Gu Jian's expression shifted from initial confusion to shock. I could easily guess what Gu Jian's followers were saying to him. They were undoubtedly discussing my background, thinking I had stumbled upon a shocking piece of gossip. The car slowly started moving. Suddenly, Gu Jian anxiously called out my name, "Song Yang." He was running breathlessly behind our car. The driver accelerated and closed the window, watching Gu Jian's figure grow smaller and smaller, gradually becoming a tiny black dot. I asked the bodyguard beside me, "What is he doing?" The bodyguard pondered for a moment, probably practicing running. When she returned home in the evening, the maid hurried to greet her. "Miss Song, young Master Pei came to the house this afternoon, but you weren't home, so he left. Pei Su is my fiancé, but ever since my identity was exposed, he hasn't contacted me for a whole week." This marriage was originally an arranged union set up by the elders from both families. Pei Su has no feelings for me. I can understand that. "What did he come to the house for?" I asked. The servant thought for a moment. "It seems he said he couldn't get in touch with you, so he came to the house to check. These past few days, my parents weren't home, and Song Yu was also away on a business trip. At home, it was just me, the maid, and the driver." I opened my phone to check. Sure enough, at the very bottom of a pile of group chat messages, there's a red message notification next to Pei Su's avatar. "Are you free? I'd like to talk to you about the engagement." I don't have any strong impressions of Pei Su. His appearance is fairly decent, but his eyes are too cold and sharp. He always looks down on others with a furrowed brow. We've only met 4 or 5 times. Each time he remains as silent as a mute, no matter what I say. No matter what topic I bring up, he always turns his head away, completely indifferent, too stingy to even spare a glance for me. I heard that Pei Su is exceptionally talented, having skipped grades since elementary school. He returned to the country to take over the family business. Logically speaking, this marriage should not have been ours, the Song family's, to begin with, but the Pei family had once wronged us, so I ended up benefiting from the oversight. Pei Su must have held some resentment in his heart, but you can't fight City Hall, so he took his frustration out on me. He's very good at giving the silent treatment, and as it happens, I'm very good at swallowing my pride. After a long time, I almost forgot what he looked like. I only remember his jawline was quite impressive. I dialed his number. I put it on speakerphone while continuing with my own tasks. "Song Yang." The other party's voice came through the receiver, steady to the point of coldness. "I wanted to discuss the engagement banquet with you today. Last time, our engagement banquet was interrupted before it even began because of the matter with the true heiress of the Song family. As a result, the engagement banquet had to be hastily postponed. There's nothing to discuss." I said casually, "I'll cancel on my end first." Pei Su fell silent on the other end for a long moment. He asked, "You want to cancel? Why?" I replied with an air of nonchalance, "No particular reason. I just don't want to get engaged to you. Anyway, I'm leaving tomorrow. I'm not going to put up with you today either." I'm laying my cards on the table, looking at all of you acting so high and mighty. "You really think you're something special," I explained to him very sincerely. "It's mainly because you're older, you know. I don't have a thing for older people." Pei Su's voice sounded like he was suppressing his anger. "I'm only 6 years older than you." I was shocked. 6 years old isn't that old yet. In a few more years, she'll be 30, once past 30, it's 40, and after 40, life is more than half over. Soon enough, it'll be time to be buried. Pei Su took a deep breath. Every word seemed to be squeezed out from between clenched teeth. Who told you that? I was growing impatient. That's none of your concern. Anyway, you're already old. Let's part on good terms. With that, he didn't care whether Pei Su lived or died. I hung up the phone. When talking to these people, you must never fall into the trap of self-justification, even though I'm a fake heiress. But so what? It's you who's getting old. It's me who doesn't want you. After dealing with the annoying matters, I finally opened my phone and accepted someone's friend request. Then I sent the other person the precautions for the new home. I'm just about to take a bath and go to bed. Before going to sleep, I called up the system one last time and asked again, "What time will you pick me up tomorrow?" But the system seemed a bit strange today. It stammered, becoming very understanding. This, you should get a good night's sleep first. You've had a tough day today. I had 3 arguments with 3 different people today. I was already exhausted to the point of being completely out of it. I just thought the system was busy and hadn't gotten to me yet. I figured I'd get a good night's sleep. I assumed that when I opened my eyes, I'd be back home in my real world. I slept very comfortably. In my dream, I knew a bit of martial arts and beat the others until they were black and blue. When I woke up in the morning, my whole body still ached. I yawned and got out of bed. I habitually picked up my phone. All missed calls and unread messages. Loading guy, I'm almost home. I brought a doctor with me. Hot-tempered fire guy. I knew the real versus. Fake heiress thing would upset you. I'm coming to check on you. Iceberg mute. I've been thinking all night. Is someone trying to steal you away? Let's meet and talk in detail. A servant's voice suddenly came from downstairs. Miss Song, we have guests at home, and it seems there's more than one. No? Are you all moving this quickly? I quickly urged the system. Hurry up, send me away. They're attacking our home. The system remained silent for a long moment before weakly speaking up. Host, I misread the time. My heart sank. So, the system said with an apologetic smile, actually, your fake death date is in 7 days. I was shocked. I quickly leaned against the window and sure enough, I saw 3 people standing downstairs. Song Yu was leaning against the wall, dragging his suitcase. In front of him were Pei Su and Gu Jian. The 3 of them were arguing about something. All that could be seen was Gu Jian's flushed face, glaring angrily at Pei Su. The servant quickly opened the door and welcomed them into the house. I quickly pulled the door open a crack. Sure enough, I heard Gu Jian and Pei Su arguing. Is it because of you? You want to break off the engagement, so she's become like this. The old Song Yang would never speak to me in that tone. Pei Su originally didn't want to pay any attention to Gu Jian, but being disturbed by him, he spoke coldly out of annoyance. Me, shouldn't the one with more problems be her adoptive brother? For so many years, he has never given Song Yang a good look at home. After being suppressed for so long, it's understandable that Song Yang's emotions finally erupted. Thus, the spearhead was directed toward Song Yu. Song Yu frowned, somewhat incredulous. Open your eyes and look at the clothes Song Yang is wearing, the jewelry and accessories she has on. Which of these wasn't arranged by me for her? He glanced at Gu Jian with a mocking smile. On the contrary, you're the one who's made Song Yang the butt of jokes at school countless times. How terribly you usually treat her. I've seen it all clearly, with so many people watching. Have you considered Song Yang's self-esteem? The 3 of them confronted each other. They were about to start fighting. I simply went back inside and took a hot bath. After finishing the beauty and skincare routine, the noise outside the door had gradually subsided. It seemed someone had angrily slammed the door and left. Suddenly, there were 3 gentle knocks on the bedroom door. Ying. Song Yu outside the door cleared his throat somewhat unnaturally. They've all left. If you have something to say, you can tell your brother. Brother, such an unfamiliar word. Such a stranger. Is it you who's being controlled by the system, or is it me? I opened the door, and Song Yu was standing at the entrance. He seemed to have just rushed back, his hair still a bit messy. His clothes also seemed like randomly chosen shirts and trousers, lacking the usual refinement. His brows and eyes were filled with an inescapable weariness. Song Yu looked at me with an expression that said, "Don't be like this. Your brother is very worried about you." But it seemed he had never bothered with managing his expressions, to the point where trying to put on a concerned expression felt like a facial twitch. "Don't worry, I've already chased Pei Su and Gu Jian out." Song Yu approached me, If you have any grievances, tell me, we're family, no need to feel embarrassed. I want to close the door. We didn't argue, and I'm not feeling wronged. I just don't want to get engaged anymore. Song Yu was taken aback and quickly pushed against the door. He moved closer, his tone a bit strange. Really, you're not lying to me. Seeing that I didn't speak, Song Yu continued on his own. I also think the two of you aren't very compatible. For starters, the age difference just doesn't work, and besides, Pei Su doesn't genuinely like you either. If you ask me, it would be better for you two to call off the engagement sooner rather than later. Was it because of him and Gu Jian that you had an emotional breakdown too? I made a move to close the door, finished talking. Wait, Song Yu braced against the door, his Adam's apple bobbing. What are you going to do after Song Yu returns? Song Yu is the true heiress of the family. Once she's back, I'll definitely have to step aside. After all, I've been occupying the magpie's nest for so long. I can't just keep clinging to the Song family. Seeing that I didn't speak, Song Yu pursed his lips again and said, I have a detached house in the suburbs. You can move there. The appliances and renovations are all arranged. You can move in directly. I politely declined. No need. Song Yu was taken aback. Then where are you planning to live? Rent a place outside, or stay in a hotel all the time? I was getting annoyed. Are you a water pipe salesman? Why do you care so much? Song Yu shut his mouth, after a long while. He finally gritted his teeth and whispered, I'm concerned about you. Can you not talk like that? It makes me uncomfortable too. I looked at him and asked seriously, is that so? Which sentence hurt you? All right, you tell me, and I'll say it again. Song Yu was speechless. He cleared his throat and softened his tone. Isn't it better if we just go back to how we used to be? Don't take your anger towards Pei Su out on me. This was the gentlest tone he could manage. I glanced at him. If you're really concerned about me, you'd be better off just transferring me some money. Consider it compensation for the emotional distress I've endured over the years. With that, she slammed the door shut, leaving Song Yu standing outside the door, listening to the faint rustling sounds from outside. He didn't leave until some time had passed. At the same time, my phone received a notification of a deposit. Song Yu transferred 3 million into my account. Although I don't know why he was so straightforward today, I'll graciously accept it for now. At home, my parents always gave Song Yu whatever he wanted. When Song Yu wanted to start a business, my parents fully supported him financially. When Song Yu wanted to hold a fashion show, my parents were busy building connections for him. But for me, they never paid any attention. Perhaps this is the treatment girls receive. Just be a decorative vase at home, yen yen. If you don't want to go back to your original home, then don't go back. If you have any difficulties, just tell me. Song Yu sent me a few more messages. You can rely on me. If you don't want to acknowledge me as your brother, then I don't have to be your brother. He really had a change of heart today, so I have to be scolded a few times before I can act like a different person. I originally wanted to close the dialogue box, but after thinking for a moment, I asked another question. There is indeed something I need your help with. I'm about to leave the Song family anyway. Can you take over the businesses my parents allocated to me before? How about converting them to cash at 80% of the market price? Brother, these two words worked like magic. Song Yu quickly sent over several long voice messages. This wasn't a difficult task for him. It's just that he didn't have enough cash flow on hand. I couldn't be bothered to open them, so I just sent an okay sticker. Then I'll give you 3 more days. How about that? The screen showed that the other party was typing. However, it took a long time before Song Yu sent 2 messages. You don't need to worry about money. I can support you. Are you feeling better now? I didn't reply. When I dragged my suitcase and left home, Song Yu wasn't there. He had gone out for a business dinner. The servant, seeing this, immediately wanted to contact Song Yu, but I stopped them. No need to tell him. I pushed the door open and walked out. Just help me pass on a message. Say, I'll contact him when I need his help. I found a hotel and planned to stay for 6 days. As soon as I entered the lobby, I ran into an unexpected guest. Gu Jian was sitting on the sofa, as if he had been waiting for me for a long time. Only then did I remember that this hotel is owned by the Gu family. Upon seeing me, he quickly stood up. Song Yang. I walked past him without even a glance. He grabbed me abruptly. Song Yang, I'm talking to you. I turned back with a hint of amusement. What's wrong with me? Are we that close? Gu Jian was momentarily stunned. Are you still mad at me? Why? I simply put down my suitcase and met his gaze. Although my memory isn't great, I remember giving you face before. Wasn't it you who said we weren't close back at school? Gu Jian was taken aback for a moment, then somewhat awkwardly rubbed his nose. I was just joking with you. We've grown up together since childhood. No one knows each other better than we do. Seeing me lower my gaze slightly to look at him, Gu Jian quickly added, I know about what happened to your family. That real heiress is coming back, and you're calling off the engagement because of Pei Su. That's why you've changed so much, isn't it? He seemed lost in his own world, trying to convince himself. I knew it. With your previous temper, how could you talk to me like this? Pei Su doesn't want you. He cleared his throat and turned his head away. His tone was a bit awkward. I might consider getting engaged to you, although I refused before. Now I'm more suitable for you. There was a moment of dead silence. I didn't speak. Only then did Gu Jian look up at me, but he found me sighing. The bodyguard nearby quickly stepped back a few paces upon seeing this. Afraid of getting caught up in it, I slightly frowned. Sometimes I'm really curious about what's going on in your head, wondering if shaking your head side to side would make your pig ears slap your own face. If you're that bored, why don't you flex your shoulders and pop that giant pimple between them? Gu Jian's face flushed crimson with rage. His teeth gritted tightly. Song Yang, don't you dare go too far. I'm speaking to you nicely. What do you take me for? I made a gesture to stop him, getting angry again. I patted his shoulder sympathetically and turned to walk out of the hotel. Let it slide this time. But don't act like you're someone important next time. Instead of asking every day what I dislike about you, why not think about what there is to like? Gu Jian froze for a moment behind me, then quickly caught up. What do you mean? Have you found someone else? Today, Gu Jian seemed like a sticky plaster. He didn't seem to realize my disgust. He was still eagerly trying to seek an answer. Who is it? When did you meet? I replied vaguely. We met when I was preparing to study abroad. He's gentle, handsome, considerate, and his IQ is a Mount Everest higher than someone's. We agreed to go live in Country D when the time comes. Gu Jian remained silent for a long while. You're going to Country D? I raised an eyebrow. Yes, but what does that have to do with you? His thin lips were pressed tightly together. In Country D. There was his illegitimate half-brother from his family. That was the other party's territory. It was said that the other party was difficult to get along with and often coveted the Gu family's assets back home. Gu Jian didn't have the guts for that. Whether it was traveling or having fun, he would always avoid Country D. After a moment of silence, he finally spoke. Song Yang, it's hard to judge a person's heart by their appearance, Gu Jian said seriously. If you want to go to Country D, I can accompany you there. Is that so? I turned back and smiled at Gu Jian. Then I'll wait for you in Country D. By the way, Pei Su has been quite annoying these past few days. As you know, he was the one who wanted to break off the engagement, and now he's trying to get back together with me. I let out a long sigh. If you help me get rid of him, maybe then we'll truly be from the same world. Gu Jian froze for a moment, then shouted after me, don't worry, I'll take care of that scumbag for you. Wait for me in Country D. I waved my hand and nodded with a smile. All right, just kidding. I watch videos at double speed. Where would I get the patience to wait for him? After going around in circles, I ended up choosing the hotel farthest from the city center. It's all Gu Jian's fault. All the high-end hotels in the city are his family's businesses. I didn't want to give him my money. Song Yu was quite true to his word. The time for the equity transfer and contract signing was set, and the money was smoothly transferred into my account. He seemed a bit upset that I had left without saying goodbye. Why didn't you tell me you were leaving? I glanced at the balance in my 3 bank cards and said casually, you're so busy with work, I won't disturb you. This seemed to please him. Song Yu cleared his throat. Not that busy, I just have to accompany my parents to pick up Song Yu tomorrow. He realized this was a bit awkward for me. On the phone, he changed the subject again, but after picking her up, there's nothing else to do. What about you? What are you planning to do next? I heard from the maid that you're going to Country Y. I hummed in agreement, dragging out my tone. I only told you, so you have to keep my secret. Gu Jian and Pei Su also asked me. But I sent them away. Song Yu seemed pleasantly surprised. You lied to them, but you're willing to trust me. I'm busy taking stock of my assets. I said casually. Of course, after all, you've transferred so much money to me, by all accounts, we're practically family now, right? Song-yu was completely charmed by my flattery. There's one more thing, brother, I said lightly. Tae-soo used to look down on me, but now he wants to make up with me. Maybe you could help handle this. You probably don't want the real heiress to come back and see your family become a laughingstock, do you? Tae-soo made several phone calls early this morning. He apologized to me, which was completely unexpected. Among these three people, Tae-soo was the only one who apologized for his previous behavior, but I never had any feelings for him in the first place. Apologies only changed our relationship from negative to strangers. He said a lot, and finally spoke slowly. If my previous actions hurt you, we can continue to interact. I can rebuild our relationship with you. I was silent for a moment, feeling puzzled. Why do you suddenly have this possessiveness towards me? Tae-soo was momentarily speechless, unable to answer. I continued speaking. Although I don't know where your emotions are coming from, you might have forgotten. We're not even friends. I didn't say, it's okay, to mean I forgive you, but to say you have no place in my future. Men are so easily forgiven. A flimsy apology can just wipe the slate clean, so when dealing with men, still, it has to be their own kind. Although Song-yu is gloomy and arrogant, his abilities are 100 times greater than Gu Jian's. Song-yu's level of care for the Song family far surpasses the way he treated me in the past. He does have a sense of family honor, except that mouth of his is truly detestable, but for now, he is indeed a useful blade. Hung up the phone. I checked the balance in my social app and transferred all of it to a newly added WeChat friend. Not long after, the other person sent me a surprised puppy emoji. Sis, why did you send me so much money? My mood, which had been soured by 3 men all day, finally improved a bit after seeing their reaction. Take it, it was meant for you all along. The other person quickly made a video call. On the screen, they were busy packing their luggage, under the dim yellow light. The walls were mottled and damp with moisture. She was squatting on the floor, carefully tying up a woven bag. Hearing the call connect, she hurriedly stood up and leaned closer to the screen. Sis, why did you transfer me so much money? I don't need it. She waved her hands repeatedly, looking a bit flustered. Keep it for yourself, or maybe I just won't come back. I'm used to living in the town and don't like big villas in the city. I said impatiently. You've never even lived in a big villa. So how do you know you don't like it? In the future, your bedroom will have its own private bathroom and a walk-in closet. There's also a large balcony and floor-to-ceiling windows by the bed, so you can keep your little dog. A look of envy appeared on the other person's face, and after a long moment, they chuckled. Then I'll live with you, sister. I don't have many clothes, so I don't need the walk-in closet. You can have it all. I shook my head. I don't live there anymore. From now on, that will be your home. Song-yu asked suspiciously. Why? She thought for a moment on her own, then said seriously, I understand. Does sister feel it's inconvenient? Then in a few days, I'll use the money sister transferred to me to buy a big house for you to live in. I softened my tone, and the harsh expression I had just shown to the other 3 eased. Don't worry about me. Go to bed early tonight. I'll pick you up at the station tomorrow. Song-yu suddenly ran off the screen, and it took a while before she came back, panting heavily. Sis, I brought you a gift. She proudly showed off the pillow in her hand. I made this myself. I added medicinal herbs inside. It can help you sleep and calm your mind, and it's also good for your eyes. She still remembered how, when we first met, I was hiding in a corner secretly crying. I lied to her, saying my tears were from my strain due to overuse, but in reality, I had just been bullied to varying degrees by those 3 that day. The system only told me to endure it, because my mission wasn't complete yet. At home, my parents have always favored Song-yu, and even at school I was like an isolated island. The return of the true heiress was no accident. No one knew that I had arranged it all. On the day Song-yu returned, I had been waiting at the train station since early morning, until I saw a thin, frail little girl carrying several large bags of luggage. Jumping off the bus covered in dust and exhaustion, only then did I walk toward her. When I discovered Song-yu, the system said this was also a side quest in the story. After I leave this world, Song-yu will become the 2nd universally disliked female lead. This story is about to welcome its 2nd prologue. The true daughter from the countryside, with a personality and background that stand out from everyone around her, a character who is flustered and filled with self-doubt. She is the natural setting for a universally disliked female lead. I wanted to hide her existence, but the system said her presence was a predetermined part of the story. Even if I didn't discover her, someone else would have found her, so I found her, to move the storyline forward. I taught her the survival rules of the wealthy world, and introduced her to high-end luxury brands. I taught her how to skillfully please her parents and how to deflect the malicious mockery from those around her. Most importantly, I wanted to teach her how to develop an incredibly strong inner core. When the storms of the world came crashing down upon her, be the unshakable mountain within yourself, sister. Song Yu ran toward me with a beaming smile. The driver behind her quickly took Song Yu's luggage. Today, my parents are away on a business trip, and they assigned Song Yu to pick her up, but Song Yu probably wants to put her in her place, as he still hasn't shown up. Did your brother say when he would come to pick you up? I asked her. Song Yu said carelessly, who cares about him? He can come or not, it's up to him. It's not him I want to see. I smiled and said, if it's like this on the very first day. What will you do if you find him unpleasant? Song Yu said seriously. I told my parents my train arrival time a week in advance. It's clear that my brother didn't take it seriously. If he's being perfunctory with me, I don't need to try to please him either. We're all our parents' children. Who's more precious than whom? I asked with a half smile. Aren't you afraid he'll dislike you? Song Yu also laughed. It's good if he dislikes me. If he actually liked me, that would be a problem. She shook her fist and said, don't worry, sis, I'll listen to you and won't let anyone bully me. I breathed a sigh of relief in my heart. No one will bully you anymore. I heard that Gu Jian had already gotten his visa and was preparing to go to Country D. Song Yu was busy handling the project in Country Y, and it seemed like he was planning to stay there long term. Once these two people leave the country, Song Yu's life will become much easier. As for Pei Su, I heard he's currently overwhelmed with engagement matters. I don't know what method Song Yu used. His family is forcing him to marry a wealthy heiress who is at least 10 years older than him. Last time I went back to school, I had already taken care of things for Song Yu. These are matters that our parents would never consider for her. But this is far from enough. In the end, I pulled 3 cards from my wallet and handed them to her. The passwords for these 3 cards are your birthday. The money inside is all the assets I've accumulated over the years. Song Yu was still young. Leaving those properties to her would be less secure than converting them into cash. Money would become her final safeguard. She froze for a moment, looking somewhat bewildered. Sister, where are you going? The system in my mind came online again. Host, there are 10 minutes left. You will be transported back to the real world. This time it's absolutely true. I double-checked the time. I tightened my coat and waved at Song Yu with a smile. I'm off to a new world. Song Yu quickly grabbed my hand. What about me? Where can I find you? Sister, what am I going to do from now on? I gently stroked her head until my hands gradually turned transparent. The pigeons in the square flapped their wings, drawing a snow-white arc across the sky. Of course, you should stay and enjoy the new life they envy. When you meet other girls who are isolated and looked down upon, you must teach them to be strong and to fight back. I'll be waiting for you at the finish line. A soft tongue can carry the weight of 1,000 pounds. They can easily snap our bones and drown us in darkness, but the thorns they plant will not wither our spring, for we are spring itself. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. For repeatedly harming the fake heiress, after I died, I was cast into hell. While enduring the torment of whipping and unbearable pain, a barrage of comments suddenly floated before my eyes. LOL, the real heiress actually thinks this is hell. Of course, with such an expensive setup and these holographic lava projections, anyone would be convinced. She definitely wouldn't imagine she isn't actually dead. All of this was orchestrated by the fake heiress, who persuaded the family to teach her a lesson. More than just a lesson, the fake heiress clearly wants her to die for real here, and tonight, they've even planned a dream visitation act to make the family completely abandon the real heiress. I blinked, thinking it was a hallucination brought on by the pain, but the next moment, a cold voice of a ghostly official came from behind. Criminal Shen Huaixia, in consideration of your living relative's concern, you are specially permitted to appear in a dream. Do you wish to see them or not? A chill shot up his spine. The words of the underworld envoy actually matched the barrage comments. The real daughter definitely doesn't want to meet. After all, she's long been heartbroken by her family. It's perfect that she refuses. The fake daughter is just waiting for her to say no, so she can stir up trouble in front of the Shin family and make them give up completely. Look. The fake daughter has already dragged the entire Shin family in front of the surveillance cameras. The show is about to begin. The barrage of comments was still scrolling wildly. Every single word felt like an ice pick stabbing into my heart. The year I turned 16, my biological parents recognized me and brought me back to the Shin family. At that time, the family already had a pampered fake daughter, Shen Nuonuo. She saw me as an enemy. She framed me again and again. I have a straightforward personality and confronted her directly every time. Her eyes were just red, tears streaming down. Whatever sister says goes, no need to worry about me. After all, I've occupied sister's place for 16 years. However she treats me is only right. With just a few words, she pinned a fabricated crime firmly on me. I was so angry I was stomping my feet, arguing with all my might. But the more I argued, the colder the looks my parents and brother gave me became. They carefully shielded Shen Nuonuo, looking at me with nothing but disgust. Those raised in the countryside have no manners. You have suffered, but No is also innocent. Why can't you accept her? Such things happen again and again. Gradually, I became disheartened. I stopped explaining, because explanations were useless. I no longer argue back, because my attempts to refute them only make them despise me more. I can only wrap myself in indifference, pretending not to care, and this, in the eyes of the Shin family, becomes undeniable proof that I am stubborn and ungrateful. In this battle, Shen Nuonuo emerged completely victorious. She smiled victoriously before me. So what if you're the real heiress? You'll never win against me. Truth be told, I no longer wanted to win by then. I only wished to fly far away after the college entrance exams, to escape completely, but by chance. I stumbled upon Shen Nuonuo's secret. She was terrified, and so, that accident targeting my brother's car happened. Shen Nuonuo accused me of tampering with my brother's car, intending to murder both her and my brother. That day, all I remember are my parents' and brother's utterly disappointed eyes, and the smug smile at the corner of Shen Nuonuo's lips. I didn't even have time to utter a single word before everything went black and I lost consciousness. When I woke up again, I was already in this hell. The judge of the underworld told me that I had died suddenly from an acute myocardial infarction. He held a case file, delivering the final verdict. They say I, driven by jealousy, repeatedly harmed the fake young lady, and my sins are so grave that I am condemned to suffer eternal flogging. I refuse to accept this and wish to defend myself. But he coldly cuts me off. The underworld sees all. Your sins are already determined. No arguments are allowed. I was dragged into a cell. Beyond the bars, molten lava churned across the sky. Countless, sinful souls struggled and wailed within it. The sound never ceased, day or night, grinding every thought of resistance to dust. From then on, at regular intervals, I would be tied to the execution rack, enduring the excruciating pain of the whip tearing through my flesh. Yet, strangely enough, even though I was clearly dead, the sensation of pain remained vivid. I would still feel tired, hungry, and required 3 meals a day. To this, the judge coldly explained, "It is precisely because of my heavy sins that I am punished with an incorruptible body and undying senses, so that I may remain fully conscious to taste every ounce of pain, and thus atone for my crimes. But, what exactly are my sins? I do not know, but under the daily lashings and wails, my grievances and resentments were gradually worn away. So be it, I told myself. While alive, arguing was pointless. Dead and gone to hell, still useless. I became numb, hollow, and even began to doubt whether I was truly beyond redemption, until I saw the barrage of comments before my eyes. All the overlooked doubts suddenly connected in an instant. Since I am already dead, why do I still need to eat? Why does the endless sea of magma occasionally experience slight stutters? Why do the ceaseless wails of agony always contain a few segments that loop repeatedly? So, the so-called eternal senses and incorruptible body were never a punishment at all, but because I never died at all. The magma was a projection, the wailing was a recording. All of this, from start to finish, was an elaborately woven deception. Criminal Shen Huaixia, are you really going to refuse this chance to appear in a dream? The underworld officer's question pulled my turbulent thoughts back to reality. He stared at me, a faint trace of anticipation and excitement glimmering in his eyes. The barrage of comments erupted instantly. Haha, Father Shen in front of the camera is so angry he's slamming the table. He declared that if she doesn't show up this time, he'll disown her as his daughter. TSK, these parents are truly heartless, sending their own daughter to a place like this. Shoo, the Shen parents think she's just locked up in hell for repentance. They have no idea there's actual torture involved. Every time the fake daughter accompanies them to watch the surveillance footage, she has the underworld guards change her into clean clothes beforehand, making them think the real daughter is living quite comfortably here. Enough talk, quickly reject the dream visitation. Once the Shen family completely abandons her, the dark web will unlock more thrilling ways to play. Let's torture her to death. A chill ran through my heart. No wonder the underworld attendants would change me into clean clothes every so often. It was all to deal with the occasional visits from the Shen family, and recently, the intervals between clothing changes have been growing longer, meaning the Shen family is gradually forgetting me. Shen Nuonuo's plan is about to succeed. Seeing my prolonged silence, the Yin emissary revealed a sinister smile. Since you are unwilling to send a dream message, then forget it. No, I am willing. I shouted with all my strength before his words could fade. My voice was hoarse, weak, and carried just the right amount of a sob, as if every word had drained me of energy. The wound hurt too much, hurt so badly, I couldn't speak. Before the words even finished, while the Shen family was still in front of the camera, I suddenly tore off the newly changed outer robe I was wearing. This robe was black, enough to conceal all the bloodstains, making me appear unharmed in front of the camera. Underneath the robe, there was only a thin, blood-stained white camisole. The Yin official's expression changed abruptly, reaching out to stop me, but it was already too late. The outer robe slipped off, whip marks, burned scars, and dark purple bruises, layer upon layer. They covered my chest, shoulders, and arms, fierce and interwoven, like the totems of hellish demons. Every inch of skin silently reveals the truth of this hell. The barrage instantly exploded with comments. Holy shit, why did she suddenly take off her outer robe? Look at the surveillance feed. Mother Shen's face has turned pale, questioning the fake heiress. Didn't you say this hell set was just to make her repent? Why are there so many injuries? The fake heiress truly is a master of manipulation. Instantly tearing up, I don't know either. Could it be that sister was too stubborn and refused to repent in hell, which is why she was punished? Incredible, she actually managed to spin it. The Shen parents' expressions softened as expected, and they started looking at the real heiress with that truly unfit for high society gaze again. I watched the barrage of comments, a cold sneer forming in my heart. Shen Nuonuo's reaction was completely within my expectations. In the past, I was straightforward and always tried to use facts and reasoning to counter her tears and lies, but in the end, I failed miserably. During these days and nights of being lashed in hell, I repeatedly replayed the scenarios in my mind. If I could do it all over again, what should I do? What the Shen family needed was never the truth. They were accustomed to playing the role of condescending benefactors. What they needed was a weak, pitiful daughter who could satisfy their protective instincts and desire for control. Shen Nuonuo played this role perfectly. Whereas I, the suddenly appearing true daughter, was full of thorns, like a mirror constantly reflecting their guilt and incompetence. What they detested was this feeling of being out of control. In that case, I will take Shen Nuonuo's path, leaving her with no way to go. Now, I am covered in whip marks, gaunt and emaciated. Who could possibly look more pitiful than me? I lifted my head and looked at the underworld official before me with eyes brimming with tears. Sir, before you send the dream, may I ask a favor of you? The underworld official frowned. Speak. My injuries, they hurt too much. I sniffled, tears welling up but not yet falling. Is there any painkillers in the underworld? I don't want my family to notice anything wrong when I visit them in their dreams later. I'm even more afraid that if they see these whip marks, they'll worry. The underworld officer's expression stiffened slightly. Painkillers. There's no such thing in the underworld. Hearing this, I appropriately lowered my eyelids. revealing a pitiful and resigned smile. That's right, I was being too demanding, I murmured to myself, my voice soft, yet clear enough for the recording device to pick up. Forget it, even if they see the whip marks, Noah will definitely say it's because I was too stubborn and refused to repent in hell, so I deserved the punishment. Mom, Dad, and brother always listened to her, probably. No one would worry about me either. I didn't scream hysterically about the injustice, but that silent feeling of being shattered, of being abandoned by the whole world, was more devastating than any loud wailing. This move, as expected, hit the bullseye with precision. The barrage exploded. Holy shit, she actually guessed exactly what the fake heiress just said. What does that mean? It means she's been screwed over by the fake heiress way too many times. Look at the Shin family's expressions: shock, astonishment. The way they're looking at the fake heiress has already changed. The fake heiress's face has turned green, but she still has a backup plan. When she sends a dream later, she will definitely try to force Shin Huaixia to go crazy, solidifying that charge of violent and unruly behavior. I watched the barrage comments, my heart cold with disdain. Shen Nuonuo, your backup plan is likely to fall through. I lifted my head again and looked toward the underworld envoy. At this moment, the brokenness and loss in my eyes have faded away, leaving only a pure, deer-like anticipation. Then now, can I go and send dreams to my family? It's the first time I've seen them since I died. The expression on the underworld official's face became somewhat complicated, but in the end, he nodded. In that case, follow me. After speaking, his gaze drifted past my shoulder, nodding slightly toward an empty space behind me. As if paying respects to the director there, I lowered my eyes, pretending not to notice, and obediently followed. I want to see for myself, in this fake hell, what exactly is this so-called dream visitation all about? I was taken by the underworld officers to a pitch-black room. Amid the swirling mist, countless particles of light began to gather and rise. Gradually, they coalesced into 4 faintly glowing human figures. The atmosphere truly carried a hint of the dream visitation vibe. The barrage of comments grew excited. Wow! This holographic projection technology is impressive. Must have cost a fortune. Absolutely. The donations from the dark web livestream are huge. Otherwise, how could we create such a realistic hell set? The Shin family on the other end is also wearing holographic sensory devices. It's a mutual deception. Hilarious. As the white mist dissipated, the 4 figures finally became completely clear. It was my long-separated parents, my brother, and Shen Nuonuo. My brother Shen Nanzhou still looked at me with undisguised contempt and indifference, but on my parents' faces, there was a rare trace of concern. Clearly, the ferocious wounds covering my body had still managed to sting them, and Shen Nuonuo, truly deserving of her title as Best Actress, as soon as she saw me, her eyes instantly reddened. She spread her arms wide and rushed toward me with a tearful voice. Sister, I've missed you so much. I finally get to see you in my dreams. She acted with such genuine emotion, as if we were the closest sisters in the world, but I turned sideways, lightly dodged her. Shen Nuonuo's face flashed a hint of, as expected, smugness, as if I had once again fallen into her preset trap. Immediately after, she looked at me with tearful eyes, full of grievance. Sister, after all this time, do you still hate me? I don't blame you for all the things you did to hurt me in the past, but I never expected that you still can't tolerate me even now. Her words were very skillfully chosen. On one hand, they were framing me, solidifying the accusation that I was unrepentant. On the other hand, they deliberately brought up those past incidents where I hurt her, waiting for me to react with the same furious denial as before. And what the Shin family despised most was my ill-bred demeanor when I flew into a rage. Shen Nuonuo curled her lips, already preparing to watch me make a scene, but I, pitifully, extended a single finger, gently pressed it against the wound on my chest. When I lifted it again, the fingertip was already stained with blood. That was fresh blood I had deliberately created on my way here by picking at the scab of my wound. My voice was soft, yet filled with sorrow. Sister Nuonuo, how could you think of me that way? I was just afraid that the blood on me would stain your beautiful princess dress. As I spoke, it was as if I had just snapped out of my daze, and I let out a bitter, self-mocking smile. Ah! Look at me, I forgot, I'm already dead. This is just a dream. so how could I possibly dirty your dress? I'm sorry, little sister, it's me. I took myself too seriously. As soon as these words were spoken, the expressions of the Shin family parents changed. Only then did they remember. In my perception, I was already a dead person, and the ones who pushed me into this hell with their own hands were none other than them. Mother Shin's lips began to tremble, and Father Shin's tightly clenched fist went slack, his eyes for the first time showing a helpless remorse. Even the usually indifferent Shin Nan Zhou's gaze wavered slightly. They looked at the scars covering my body, and then thought of how I had just been so cautious and fearful of dirtying Shin Nuo's dress, a soul tormented in hell. Upon seeing their dearest loved one, their first reaction was actually one of humility and ingratiation. This silent understanding hurt them more than any crying or complaining could. Enough. Father Shin rarely showed a stern face, his condemning gaze shooting toward Shen Nuo. Why Xia is already hurt so badly, and you're still here fussing over whether she hugged you or not? How ridiculous. Shen Nuo's face instantly turned deathly pale. In the struggle between her and me, this was the first time Father Shin had taken my side. The barrage of comments was filled with astonishment. Holy shit, did Shen Huaixia change her style? She used to be so stubborn. How did she suddenly wise up and start fighting fire with fire? The fake heiress must be dumbfounded, right? She's relied on playing the victim for so long that she instinctively fell back on her old tricks. But she forgot, the Shen Huaixia of today is a ghost, covered in bloodstains, gaunt and emaciated. When it comes to pity, who could possibly out-pity Shen Huaixia? The fake heiress pushed someone into hell, but that person turned hell into a stage and checkmated her in return. Haha, things just got more interesting. I looked at Shen Nuo's incredulous expression and sneered inwardly. The time had come. I seized the opportunity to escalate. Mimicking her usual tactics with a tone that was soft yet laced with hidden barbs. Please don't blame my sister. It's all my fault. I was just so overjoyed to see you all that I forgot for a moment I'm already dead. I should be grateful that my sister doesn't mind me being a ghost and was even willing to hug me. Every word I spoke absolved her of blame, yet each sentence served as a reminder to them. Who came up with the idea to turn me into a ghost in hell? Shen's mother felt her heart shatter. She could no longer hold back, grabbing Shen's father's arm abruptly and sobbing, "Old Shen, we can't let Xia stay there any longer. Look at how much she's been tormented, and those injuries all over her body. Hurry, hurry, and have them release Xia." In an instant, the air seemed to freeze. The three words, "Let it out," like a sudden clap of thunder, they revealed the hidden truth. Father Shen's expression shifted between light and shadow. His gaze fixed intently on me, as if assessing whether I had truly been properly raised, and Brother Shen Nan Zhou held Shen Nuo tightly, focusing on comforting her. My heart skipped a beat. It seems the timing isn't right yet. I must add more fuel to the fire, a fire that could burn away their reason and defenses completely. I blinked in confusion, pretending not to understand the hidden meaning in Mrs. Shen's words. I reached out, trying in vain to wipe the tears from her holographic image. "Mom, please don't be like this. I know you're just saying these confused words because you're too heartbroken. I'm already dead. How could I possibly leave hell? The dead cannot come back to life." I forced out a smile uglier than crying and continued to comfort her. "Don't worry, I'm really fine. It's just getting whipped every couple of days. You get used to it." Before I was brought back to the Shin family, I was often beaten by Nono's biological parents too. These injuries, they're nothing to me. Mr. and Mrs. Shin were both stunned, beaten. How could that be? Didn't Nuo say you were living quite well in your original home? That's right. Back when they acknowledged me, to spare Shin Nuo's feelings, they actually sent her, the fake heiress, to pick me up and bring me home. They called it fostering sisterly affection between the two of us. In reality, they were just afraid that coming to pick me up in person would make their cherished flower feel disappointed. Shen Nuo came with a mission, and upon returning, she reported nonchalantly, "Sister is doing quite well." But back then, I was too stubborn to play the victim. I naively thought that since they came to acknowledge me as family, they must have investigated my past. Little did I know, all their efforts were spent on how to make Shin Nono happy. When did they ever spare a single thought to care about the 16 years I struggled in the mud? Shin Nono's face turned pale. And she was just about to start making excuses. I stepped in first, using a more understanding tone to defend her. Don't blame my sister. She was just afraid you'd think about how the people who abused me were her biological parents, so she kept this hidden. I forced out an understanding and resilient smile. Besides, I'm used to hardship, and I'm used to being beaten. If it were my sister, a girl raised in luxury and comfort, who had to endure even a single whiplash, who knows how heartbroken mom, dad, and brother would be. Fortunately, it was me who took all of this in her place. Every word I spoke was meant to defend her, yet each one exposed her flaws. Father Shen's curiosity had turned into deep sorrow, while Mother Shen was sobbing uncontrollably. Only my brother Shen Nanzhou remained resolutely determined to protect Shen Nuonuo. He frowned and interrupted me with displeasure. Enough, why bring up these old matters? Nuonuo's biological parents may be scoundrels, but what does that have to do with Nuonuo? Stop being so sarcastic here. Seeing this, Shen Nuonuo immediately found her pillar of support and tearfully poured out her grievances. Sister, you've already gone to hell. Why are you still wronging me? When I went to pick you up, you were perfectly fine. She blinked innocently. Are you still holding a grudge because I stole the family's love? That's why you're saying this on purpose. What will it take for you to forgive me? If I could, I'd rather die in your place. She knew all too well how to hit the Shen family's weak spots. Sure enough, with her provocation, Shen's parents looked at me with a hint of suspicion again. It seemed they remembered how I used to be incorrigible. They instinctively supported the unsteady Shen Nuonuo and comforted her. Nuonuo, don't talk nonsense. How can this be your fault? Shen Nuonuo was certain that when she came to pick me up back then, only the two of us and my adoptive parents were present. As long as she insisted she knew nothing, she could keep herself out of trouble. I gave a bitter smile and shook my head. Sister, if I were still alive, perhaps I would still compete with you, but I am already dead. What use is there in fighting anymore? I looked at her, my gaze becoming incredibly sincere. Little sister, I no longer blame you for all the schemes you plotted against me in the past, but from now on, when I'm no longer here, only you and our brother will be by our parents' side. You must not continue to scheme against others in everything you do, as you did before. What nonsense are you spouting? Before I could finish my words, Shen Nanzhou exploded. Shen Huaixia, it was clearly you who repeatedly set up Nuonuo. You pushed her down the stairs, gave her laxatives, even hired thugs to harm her. Nuonuo is too kind-hearted to hold it against you, and now that you're in hell, you still want to drag her down with you. Let me tell you, there's no way. Shen Nuonuo immediately nestled up like a little bird, showing a touched and aggrieved expression. As for me, I just listened quietly. Only after he finished speaking did I let out a faint sigh. Brother, of course I remember all these things you mentioned. Moreover, there is surveillance footage in my room that can prove my innocence. I paused, raised my eyes, and swept my gaze over each of them, finally settling on Shen Nuonuo's terrified face. Actually, there's a camera hidden in the eyes of the little bear plushie on my bedside. I recorded everything that just happened with my brother, from start to finish. If you go back and check, you'll know exactly who is lying. Shen Nuonuo's face instantly drained of color, her eyes widened in terror. She had been in my room, flaunting her power over me more than once, and personally admitted to framing me. Could it be that it was really recorded? She immediately lost her composure and screamed, "You're lying. If you had surveillance footage, you would have shown it long ago. Why wait until now?" I sighed helplessly, looking at her with pity in my eyes. When I was alive, I always believed that family scandals should never be aired in public, so every time my sister framed me, I never brought out the evidence to make things difficult for our parents and brother. But now that I'm dead, the dead in hell dare not hide the truth or lie, or else will be thrown into the magma, suffering the agony of being burned by flames. So, I'm sorry, sister, but I can no longer cover up for you. How dare you still try to argue? Shen Nanzhou was provoked into a furious rage by me. Fine, I'll end this dream visitation right now and go look. If you're lying, you'll rot in hell forever. Don't even think about dream visitations anymore. Alright, without a trace of panic on my face, I calmly recited a string of cloud storage account and password information. But before I could finish reciting the password, Shen Nuonuo completely broke down. No, don't go look for it. she suddenly burst into tears. Clinging tightly to Shen Nanzhou's leg, "Brother, don't go, see, I'm just too afraid of losing you all." Her shout was tantamount to a confession without being pressed. Everyone present froze in place. The barrage of comments instantly erupted. "Holy crap, did the fake heiress just confess outright? I have no choice but to confess. She can't afford to gamble," rather than letting her family see her vicious side in the surveillance footage. "It's better to admit it proactively and then use, because I'm afraid of losing you all," to whitewash herself. After all, the Shen family always softens when they see her cry. This trick has never failed, and isn't there a saying, "A man's words are kind when he is near death"? In the eyes of the Shen family, Shen Huaixia now believes she is a dead person, so why would she lie? Exactly, the fake heiress thought the same way, so she got scared. I watched the collapsed Shen Nuonuo quietly, without a single ripple in my heart. She didn't know, those surveillance recordings simply didn't exist. There was indeed a pinhole camera hidden inside the little bear doll on my bedside, but before I could activate it, I was sent to this hell. The words I just spoke were nothing more than a bluff to trick her. Fortunately, she had a guilty conscience and was deceived by my dead identity. With just one bluff, she confessed. Shen Nanzhou looked at her in disbelief, his voice trembling. "Nua Nua, what do you mean?" Shen Nua Nua, seeing that the truth was exposed, completely broke down emotionally. Her holographic image knelt on the ground, clutching her parents' legs. She burst into loud sobs. "Dad, Mom, brother, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I just love you all so much. I was afraid that after sister comes back, you would abandon me. That's why I lost my mind and did those wrong things. Nua Nua, you. How could you do such a thing?" Shen's parents looked utterly devastated, their eyes filled with disappointment and unfamiliarity for the first time. They exchanged a glance, their faces full of inner conflict. After a long silence, Shen's father finally spoke. "Since Huaixia was innocent before, why not let her come home?" My heart instantly leaped into my throat. Did I succeed? Are they finally going to let me leave this godforsaken place? However, just as Father Shen was about to tell me the truth, "No," Brother Shen Nanzhou suddenly interrupted sharply. He pulled Shen Nua Nua, who was crying almost to the point of fainting, up and tightly shielded her behind him. "Dad, Mom, Nua Nua, she is already pregnant with my child. Her emotions can't handle the slightest disturbance right now. Are you trying to kill Nono and your own grandchild by bringing the person she least wants to see back home?" These words struck like a bolt from the blue. The barrage of comments was even more shocked than I was. "Holy crap, incest. Did these siblings get together?" It must be that after her identity as the fake heiress was exposed, she targeted Shen Nanzhou in order to stay in the wealthy family. This is the end now. The Shen parents value this son the most. Didn't they decide to send Shen Huaixia to hell before just because she touched her brother's car? Exactly. They might not care about the squabbles between the real and fake heiresses, but when it involves their precious son and eldest grandson, there's absolutely no room for negotiation. The fake heiress is not just an adopted daughter now, but also a daughter-in-law protected by the eldest grandson. It's probably going to be difficult for Shen Huaixia to return home. My heart was pounding, but my face quickly shifted to an even deeper look of confusion. I can't panic. The act must go on. Go home. I timidly lifted my gaze, my eyes wandering innocently across their faces. "What do you mean by going home? How can a soul like me go home?" I must maintain this appearance of a completely unaware victim, guide them step by step, letting them voluntarily reveal the truth and release me. But Mr. and Mrs. Shen just exchanged a glance, their eyes shifting between Shen Nono's belly and me. After a long silence, Mother Shen finally spoke haltingly. "We originally wanted to bring your ashes home. But Nuonuo is pregnant now, and we're afraid it might bring bad luck." Father Shen immediately nodded. "Huaixia, when a person dies, it's like a lamp going out. Let bygones be bygones. Although Nuonuo was at fault, your confrontational nature back then was indeed too overbearing. When it comes to faults, you also had your share. After that, we'll wait for Nono to give birth, and then we'll take your ashes home." They are still using lies to maintain a facade of peace. Even if the truth comes to light, even if the frame-up is confirmed, for the sake of their precious son and that unborn, eldest grandson, I am still the one being sacrificed. I should feel heartbroken, but my heart has long grown cold to the extreme, so much so that hearing these words doesn't stir even the slightest ripple. The stage has not yet come to an end. I knew well that if I missed this opportunity, it would be hard to survive. So I had no time for self-pity. I just looked at them and calmly asked, "How can you be sure that the child she's carrying is definitely my brother's?" One sentence made Shinono instantly tense up. She remembered the secret I had uncovered, the secret she was willing to kill me to keep hidden. She suddenly clutched her stomach and let out a painful scream. "My stomach hurts so bad. It hurts. Quick, brother, take me to the hospital." As she spoke, she reached out to remove the holographic sensory device from Shen Nanzhou. She was trying to forcibly interrupt the dream visitation. Shen's father and mother also panicked, hastily rushing to support her. Seeing the holographic image about to dissipate, I shouted at an extremely fast pace, "The day before I died, I saw my sister in bed with another man." Buzz, before the words could fully leave my mouth, the signal was forcibly cut off. The entire room fell into a deathly silence. I collapsed weakly to the floor, my back soaked with cold sweat. Had I failed again? The barrage became excited again. "Oh ho, Shen Huaixia can't go back. The fake heiress has already sent a message to the director, demanding that she be dealt with immediately. This hell is on a remote island in international waters. If someone dies here, there won't even be a ripple. If we wait for the Shen family to remember and send a dream, we might not even find the body." Excited. "The dark web is about to begin the slaughter. This time, we need to come up with something new." Watching the death threats in the bullet comments, my fear reached its peak. But just at that moment, the particles of light before him actually converged and rose once again. The barrage exclaimed in shock, "Holy shit, Shen Nanzhou." He put the device back on himself. He heard it. He definitely heard Shen Huaixia's last words. The light and shadow coalesce. Shen Nanzhou's face, twisted with rage, was fixed intently on me. "Was what you just said true? I always keep my persona in mind. Brother, I'm already a dead person. Is there still a need for me to lie?" It was precisely because I discovered her disgraceful deeds that my sister orchestrated that car accident to frame me, making you all completely despise me. Shen Nanzhou's expression grew even more unpleasant. Clearly, he remembered. It was precisely by taking advantage of that car accident that Shen Nuonuo strongly insisted on sending me to hell to be educated. Looking back now, it's clear that she intended to make me shut up for good. "Brother, she's lying. You have to believe me. I was framed by her." Shen Nuonuo's piercing cries came through the device. Shen Nanzhou, however, responded with a roar. "Believe you? Just now you kept insisting she was lying. And what happened? It was all your own scheme. What reason would a ghost have to frame you?" He suddenly turned his head, his bloodshot eyes fixed tightly on me. "Shen Huaixia, what else did you see that day? Who was that man? Tell me everything, down to the last detail." See, when it doesn't concern him, he's always generous with other people's sacrifices. Once the fire burns his own feet, the so-called tolerance had completely vanished. At that very moment, the figures of Shen's father and mother reappeared. Their faces showed anger, worry, and an unprecedented gravity. Shen Nuonuo knelt on the ground, trembling all over, as if realizing there was no way out for her. Overwhelmed by immense fear, "My stomach hurts so bad, take me to the hospital first." She was still wailing, trying to shift the focus. "If it hurts, endure it." Shen Nanzhou no longer showed the protectiveness he had just moments before. He grabbed Shen Nuonuo's arm, his eyes red as he roared, "You don't feel pain earlier or later, but only at this moment. Do you think I'm a fool?" Shen's father and mother had initially felt somewhat reluctant, but upon seeing their son in this state, they immediately fell silent, only looking at me with a serious, questioning gaze. Everyone was waiting for my answer. "I know." Finally, I held the bargaining chip in my hand. I put on a submissive and well-behaved expression, softly saying, "I remember that man was a rich second-generation heir, named Wang." Halfway through my words, I deliberately paused and sighed with difficulty. "Forget it, I'd better not say it, seeing how angry you are. Brother, what if hearing this hurts my sister and the baby in her womb?" I let out a bitter laugh, subtly guiding the conversation. "Besides, I'm already dead. In principle, I shouldn't interfere with the affairs of the living anymore. Dead? My ass. Shen Nanzhou was infuriated by my words and couldn't wait to tear open the truth. You never died at all. This isn't some damn hell. It was Shen Nuonuo. She suggested sending you here to be educated, so why are you still covering for her? My eyes snapped wide open, as if unable to bear the immense shock. I staggered back 2 steps. Dad, Mom, is what brother said. Is it true? Shen's mother turned her face away, avoiding my gaze. Shen's father cleared his throat, putting on a sanctimonious posture. Why, Xia? One must endure the bitterest of the bitter to stand above others. We sent you here to temper your character. Look. Aren't you much more sensible now? In the end, we only have your best interests at heart. Listening to these words, a wave of nausea rose in my throat. Shen Nanzhou had lost all patience, his gaze piercing as he demanded, enough nonsense. Shen Huaixia, tell me right now, who is that adulterer? I seemed utterly terrified, trembling. I hugged myself tightly as tears streamed down my face. I don't dare say. I stared fearfully in Shen Nuonuo's direction, trembling like a startled bird. Since it was my sister who sent me here, she must be very familiar with the people here. I'm afraid if I speak, she'll have them. Never let me out again. Dad, Mom, brother, please ask her to let me out first. Okay, I've really had enough of this place. Once I'm out, I'll listen to everything you say. I made the most direct proposition with the gentlest demeanor. Did you hear that? Shen Nanzhou immediately yelled at Shen Nuonuo. Contact them right now and let her out. Shen's father and mother also grew anxious, scolding Shen Nuonuo angrily. How can you be so vicious? Your sister has already been hurt this badly by you, and you still want to lock her up for life. These words, how familiar they are. In the past, they were all used to curse me. Shen Nuonuo, however, just kept shaking her head, sobbing as she explained, I have no choice. This hell, you can only enter, but never leave. What? Shen's mother's voice instantly turned shrill. Then how could you have the heart to send your sister in back then, you heartless creature? I didn't know at first. Shen Nuonuo broke down sobbing. He didn't tell me at the beginning. He only said he had built a film set on a deserted island called Truman's Brothel, and had tamed a disobedient female PhD. He also said there were many other sets on the island, like Truman's Harem, Truman's Hell. Only later did I find out that the real controllers of this island are the dark web financiers. Once you're locked in here, there's no way out. Is that your illicit lover? Shen Nanzhou pointedly questioned. Shen's parents also grew anxious. Are you saying this just to cover up your scandal? The barrage of comments was filled with schadenfreude. This family is too naive. Do they really think hell is a place they can come and go as they please? Keeping the real heiress around before was just because the dark web clients wanted to watch the battle between the real and fake heiresses for entertainment. Now that the show is over, and the real heiress knows the truth, she's no longer useful. Useless equals can be played to death. The only path waiting for the real heiress is death. My heart sank inch by inch into an icy abyss as the barrage of comments scrolled by. After all my struggles to survive and all my scheming, could it be that I still can't escape death in the end? There must still be a way, right? I almost lunged forward to grab Shen Nono's holographic image, but my hand passed uselessly through that empty light and shadow. Snap! Suddenly, all the holographic images were instantly cut off. The entire world plunged into a deathly, silent darkness, dead silence. Only my heavy panting and the drum-like beating of my heart remained. Then, a sharp snap, a cold spotlight shone down on me from above. In the darkness, eerie and excited laughter rose and fell in waves. He, it's finally time to begin. I've been acting for so long. My hands are itching. Hurry, tie her to the gallows. I can't wait any longer. The door was pushed open. The ox-headed and horse-faced guards, along with the black and white impermanents, whom I saw every day, filed in one after another. They stepped closer to me, dragged me up roughly from the ground, and tied me to the cold gallows. Fear, like an invisible hand, tightened around my throat. I watched them, these usually stern messengers from hell. They smiled as they slowly removed their hoods, revealing faces twisted with excitement. The living are more terrifying than demons. Here is the human hell, little beauty. Don't be afraid. Let's play slowly. A man stroked my face. His gaze sticky and disgusting. I guarantee you'll experience punishments more thrilling than the real hell, they shouted excitedly, adjusting the height of the noose. Just as the rope was about to tighten around my neck, boom, a deafening crash. The cell door was violently smashed open from the outside by an immense force. A group of fully armed SWAT officers, wielding firearms, burst in as if descending from the heavens. Freeze. Police. Flashbangs and gunshots instantly echoed throughout the space. I was stunned speechless by this sudden turn of events. In my confusion, bullet comments once again drifted before my eyes. Holy shit, something huge just happened in the neighboring set. The female leads from two different scenarios, Chu Men's Brothel and Chu Men's Harem, teamed up and led the SWAT team onto the island. They took over the island surveillance center, saw the live broadcast of the slaughter from the hellish set, and immediately called in the SWAT team to rescue everyone. The fake heiress's lover got arrested too. Not only was he involved with the fake heiress, but he also imprisoned a female doctor to create Chu Men's Brothel. In the end, the very female doctor he kept captive turned the tables and killed him. Oh my god. Now all the sets on the island are being evacuated urgently. They've been completely wiped out. The rope was cut, and I was rescued from the gallows, escorted by the SWAT team. I walked step by step out of this hell that had imprisoned me for countless days and nights. I pushed open the final door. The blinding daylight instantly brought tears to my eyes. I greedily breathed in the air, heavy with the salty sea breeze, feeling the warmth of the sun on my skin. I am alive. It is such a real sensation. In the distance, the blue sea shimmered with sparkling ripples. The gates of hell have already closed. Yet the judgment of the mortal world has only just begun. The fall of Truman's Island became a sensational global news story. Countless imprisoned victims were finally able to see the light of day again. When the police were registering my information, they routinely asked, "What is your family's contact information? We will notify them to come pick you up." I shook my head calmly. I have no family. They were the ones who personally sent me here. The young police officer fell silent. I asked him, "What is today's date?" He told me a date. I laughed, but tears uncontrollably streamed down my face. It turns out today is my 18th birthday. From today on, I no longer need anyone's guardianship. I no longer need that so-called home. Instead of going home, I made my request to the police. I want to sue my biological parents, the Shin couple, my own brother Shin Nanjo, and Shin Nuonuo. According to the law, they deceived and sent me, who was under 18, to this isolated island controlled by a criminal organization, paying a large sum of money and subjectively allowing me to suffer abuse and life-threatening dangers. Their actions go far beyond ordinary abandonment and constitute joint offenses of intentional injury and illegal detention, and Shin Nanuo, as the mastermind, was even more guilty. Half a month later, I accepted an exclusive interview with a national television station that had the highest viewership ratings. On the day of the live broadcast, Shin's parents and Shin Nanjo also came. They looked haggard, no longer possessing the radiance of the past. As the program began, they wept bitterly, lowering their proud heads for the first time. "Why Xia, it was Mom and Dad's fault. We were blind and misjudged Shen Nuonuo. We're all family. How can there be lasting grudges? Please forgive us, Xiao Xia. It's your brother who's in the wrong. I'm a scoundrel. You can hit me or curse me all you want. As long as you're willing to drop the lawsuit, I'll compensate you with anything you want, little sister." They wept with heartfelt sobs, repenting with genuine emotion. What excellent acting skills. It's just a pity that I'm no longer the little girl who yearned for a shred of their pity. I watched them quietly until their cries gradually subsided, then smiled and asked the host, "Do you know what hell is like?" The host froze. I looked into the camera and said slowly, "True hell is not holographic lava, nor is it monsters wearing masks. The true hell is the barren despair in your heart when your closest kin use your flesh and blood to feed another jackal that shares no blood ties with them. It is the bone-chilling cold when you are covered in wounds, yet they only care whether you have learned to wag your tail and beg for mercy. It is the ultimate absurdity and disgust when they push you into the abyss and still tell you it is for your own good." My gaze swept over the three pale, remorseful faces before me. If it were just a matter of not loving me, I would choose to walk away. But you want me dead. My expression was calm and icy. "So, I will not forgive, never forgive. I only hope that you too can personally experience the hell I've been through and truly understand what it means to endure the hardest of hardships. That live stream set the entire internet ablaze. The Shin family's stock price plummeted overnight, hitting the limit down, triggering circuit breakers, until it ultimately crashed. They fell from the clouds into the mud, scorned by everyone and entangled in lawsuits. Once a prestigious family, the Shin family has now become a rat scurrying across the street, despised by all, and Shen Nuo. Her retribution was even more dramatic. Shen Nanzhou forcibly took her to undergo amniocentesis for a paternity test. Ironically, the child was indeed his. Unfortunately, due to this damaging puncture, the child was miscarried. The once inseparable siblings became bitter enemies, tormenting each other in endless resentment, and the judgment of the law did not fail to arrive. In the end, the court identified Shen Nuo as the principal offender, sentencing her to life imprisonment for the combined crimes of illegal detention and intentional homicide. My brother Shen Nanzhou, from being an accomplice to harm to becoming an accessory to murder, was sentenced to 20 years in prison for multiple crimes combined. My biological parents, in the name of love, committed acts of harm, and due to the particularly severe circumstances of intentional injury, were sentenced to 15 years in prison. They personally sent me into hell, and finally tasted the bitter fruit forged by the law with their own mouths. As for one of the masterminds behind all this, Shen Nuo's adulterer, the rich second-generation heir Wang Ziyu, as one of the investors of Truman Island, he was sentenced to death and immediately executed for multiple crimes including illegal confinement, rape, and intentional homicide. All the dust has settled, with the exorbitant compensation money given by the Shin family. I returned to school alone and sat back in the senior high school classroom. Sunlight streamed through the window, spilling onto the test papers. I am already 18 years old. My life can finally be decided by myself. I know that those scars may never fade, and those nightmares may still visit me late at night, but the gates of hell have been firmly shut behind me. I will carry my scars, step by step, walking toward the light, into a future that is bright and my own. After hearing the two stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.